Marco Vicenzino is Director of Global Strategy Project. He joins our discussion from New York. Marco, your takeaway based on what we've seen, what we've read, is it really going to change any minds at this point?
Not at this point. I mean, there's a political dimension here, and there's also a legal dimension. Technically, they should be separate, but in reality, in practice, they're actually intertwined. So basically, it's when you look at the actual results. I mean, a month ago, when the first report was released, this is obviously the first 4 pages were released of the Attorney General's summary. And looking at it today, I'd see the collusion issue obviously has been established that there was no collusion. He's referred to 10 particular cases where there could have been potential for obstruction of justice. He concluded there wasn't sufficient grounds. But I think it's on the political front. That's where the Democrats in Congress will try to seize upon those 10 particular situations and try to find and scour those 10 situations and try to find instances or evidence where it could support a charge of obstruction of justice. Well, this is, once again, this is not just legal. This is political. This is going to endure throughout the rest of his presidency, throughout the 2020 campaign and beyond.
On obstruction of justice, while Mueller investigators were unable to say definitely that there was no criminal conduct, let's put up what they did say. The president's efforts to influence the investigation was mostly unsuccessful, but that is largely because the persons who surrounded the president declined to carry out orders or accede to his requests. I mean, what do you make of that? It certainly doesn't sound exoneration to me.
I would say it's a gray zone, and a gray zone in a sense is depends which side you support. And when I say gray zone, I mean is that it's subject to interpretation. In order to bring this to a more serious level, there has to be complete black and white, unequivocal evidence. And I think at this point, you're going to see Mueller. They'll probably bring him before the Congress. The Attorney General said he had no problem with Mueller going before the Congress. And you'll see during the questioning of that the congressional, when he appears before Congress, if he does appear before Congress, obviously Mueller has to accept that invitation. And you'll see the members of Congress on the respective committees questioning him and more for information regarding that and trying to build further grounds and to build upon those claims of obstruction of justice and to the points that you're referring to. But I think up until this point, it's going to require probably personal presence for Mueller to further give evidence for the congressional Democrats to push this case in terms of obstruction of justice.
And many of those congressional Democrats, say Attorney General Barr, seem to act more like President Trump's attorney than the chief law enforcement officer in this country. Barr, once again, I'm quoting here, President Trump faced an unprecedented situation. He was frustrated by the sincere belief the investigation was undermining his presidency, propelled by his political opponents and fueled by illegal leaks. Is this an objective assessment by the country's Attorney General?
When I said to you before that there's a political dimension and there's a legal dimension, and they're both deeply intertwined, in a highly polarized political environment, it's not expected for something like this to happen. Each side is going to want to push their political narrative, seize the political initiative, seize the political momentum, and set the tone of the debate. And I think that's what the White House and the Attorney General was trying to do, is trying to set the terms of the debate and seize the political initiative before the actual release of the redacted 450 pages of the report. So once again, I say it's highly charged political environments. Each side is going to try their best to seize the initiative, and I think what happened today was actually one example of many that occurred today and will keep occurring in the future.
And shortly after Barr's news conference, President Trump posted a tweet, a sort of a meme with a Game of Thrones theme featuring himself on the photo. It says, "No collusion, no obstruction." For the haters and the radical left Democrats, game over. Is this what the American people want to see? Is this really a game?
Basically, the president can be accused of of violating every form of political etiquette, every form of political protocol to the consternation of the political establishment in Washington and many people in the public who oppose him, but it's actually to the liking of his political base. And you have to look at that specifically. Many of the president's actions he always looks at his political base, those who voted him into power. So I think his statements are actually no surprise, and the political highly polarized climate we continue to continue in right now at the present stage is going to continue throughout the 2020 presidential election and beyond. So his statements are no surprise. They're very consistent with what he's done in the past, and that will continue for the foreseeable future.
All right, Marco Vicenzino, thank you.